You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of No Other Pod. I'm Jimmy, along with my good buddy Dan. What's going on, my friend?
Look at my hair, bro. I look like a lion. All straight hair. Oh, dude, I get why people straighten their hair, man. I no longer look like Lord Farquaad from Shrek.
Yeah.
Feeling good, man.
How long did it take you to straighten it?
I don't do it. My wife does it.
How long did it take Marissa to straighten it?
It's not long. She gets out a little stool because I'm a giant man.
Yeah.
And she just kind of pivots around me. I'm like, should I turn? And she's like, I'll move around you. I'm like, all right, this is nice.
I imagine you sitting there with like a magazine as she's doing it. It's like you're in a salon.
I'm standing. I'm just standing there like on my phone. I was brushing my teeth one time. It was quite the multitask.
Well, I could tell something was different. I asked if you got a haircut, but it didn't look shorter. But I was like, something's different.
Get yourself a real one. A woman who will straighten your hair.
There you go. Well, my hair's not long enough to be straightened, but
yeah, you could get a little spike going, just a little bitty one. You might burn yourself.
There you go. Well, I'm in a cabin in Tennessee.
Yeah,
so
look at you, dude.
Hopefully, my Wi-Fi stays good. We'll see.
You look fine. You're not grainy or nothing.
That's good.
Just your regular face.
That's good. I'm cramped on a tiny little desk here. I got all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it's
you're in like a nook. It looks secluded. You look like you're in witness protection.
I'm upstairs. It's like almost like a studio cabin here. I'm upstairs in like the loft area. The bed is behind my computer, and then down behind me is where like the main sitting area is. And there's a game room. It's got like shuffleboard and darts and stuff in here. It's kind of cool.
I do want to point out, anyone watching on YouTube, if they think like, oh, their eyes are smaller than usual. Well, it is 8 a.m. on a holiday that we're doing this, and you got to get it in. You got to get it in when you can get it in, buddy. I even got up at 6 and got my workout in and my day going. I'm sure you got my workout notifications on your watch.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, why am I still tired? It doesn't wake you up. It doesn't all the time.
Well, there was a couple of disappointing soccer games that took the energy out of us that we're going to have to talk about today.
I just don't like the sport anymore. Let's move on.
Well, there's plenty to talk about with Sporting Kansas City and LAFC and the controversy surrounding that game. And then, there was a little thing that happened in the world of U.S. men's national team where they hired a new coach. So, or an old coach, or a new old coach.
What's old is new.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that, as well as a wild U.S.-Mexico game that ended with Weston McKennie basically having no shirt.
Yeah, just popping his nip out for a minute, freeing that nip, baby.
But first, if you have not yet left us that 5-star rating and review, we would appreciate if you would go ahead and do so on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll read them all in here. So thank you for doing that. But let's jump into this Sporting Kansas City LAFC game. If you looked at what the lineups were ahead of this game, I would have thought, this is advantage Sporting Kansas City, because this was not the LAFC lineup that we are used to for the past few years that was put out on the field.
No, bro, it was advantage referee. Okay, it's just I'm so mad, and I'm not blaming the ref for the entire game, but he certainly didn't help things.
He didn't. And it was an interesting lineup for Sporting KC, because I think there were rumors, not rumors. I had been told that Johnny Russell was going to return for Sporting Kansas City, but
did you break that news on Twitter?
I think I did.
Are you supposed to?
Well, the source that I got it from, I was able to do that. So
they didn't tell you not to.
So it hadn't been confirmed that he wasn't starting, so that's why I didn't say that. I was like, he's going to be available and in the team selection at least
in
tonight.
The building.
So I knew he was going to be in the team selection, and there was at least a planned sub appearance. So, but it was interesting because I would have thought that Kyrie Shelton might have started on the right wing in place of Johnny Russell, because Marinos Janis is gone with the Cyprus national team. But instead, we saw Eric Tommy play on the right wing, which he's been playing a little bit more on the right side midfield, but we hadn't seen him on the right wing before.
Tommy and Kinda on the field at the same time. We knew it could happen. It's like seeing a unicorn. It's wild, bro.
It's rare when it happens, but when it does happen, there's some good things that Sporting Kansas City can do with a couple of creative midfielders in the attack.
Yeah,
I like it.
Eric Tommy is something else, man. He is a fun player, when that ball is
Ooh.
at his feet, you pay attention. Like your eyes perk up. Like maybe you're checking your phone, but then Eric Tommy gets the ball and you're like, phone down.
There was a deep on the Cauldron end of the field. I think it was toward the end of the first half where he did the little flick above the defender to kind of go around him. If you watch the broadcast, the announcer almost lost his damn mind when Tommy did that little flick. Yeah. Oh my God. It was,
man. This game had a lot of anticipation on it right from the get-go because we went to LAFC and we drew them. That was the start of our little run Seattle was the start of our run, but this continued it. And so them coming back, these are two teams that are in wildly different spots from the beginning of the year. One has a CONCACAF Champions League hangover, just searching for points. They're like, man, we've really got to get out of this rut.
And they lost 5-0 to the Houston Dynamo over 2 games after that.
Little aggregate there, yeah. And then Sporting's like kind of firing, and you're like, are they good? I'm still not entirely convinced, but things are going well.
Things are a lot better.
Yeah, this game was wild, and it was for the taking. I almost wish it would have ended in a draw because we lost. So obviously anyone would want to draw if they lost.
Sure.
But I upgraded my seats for this game.
I know you did. You spent some extra money.
Marissa and I spent a little extra money. We went and got front row area on the west stand. I see why people pay that money because it's a great view. You're in the shade and you see everything. I saw everything from pushing and goals, from being right in front of Kyrie Shelton holding a guy on side.
Oh, it was don't get me started.
Insane. I saw it all. I knew it right when it happened too. I was like, Kyrie held him on side. Unbelievable.
Well, yeah. So that was weird because watching on the broadcast angle, Kyrie wasn't even in the frame at first.
They showed it in the stadium, by the way, and he wasn't in the frame. And I'm like, they're not showing the entire picture because I don't think they had the picture. Right. And the stadium's losing it because they're like, clearly he's offsides. And I'm like, you're not showing the whole thing. It's not really fair.
Well, and we'll talk more about that play as it gets a little bit closer. But the first half of this game, I was just looking up the XG for the game in total, and Sporting Kansas City. XG, according to FOTMob, 1.87 to 1.04 for LAFC. Now, granted,
pretty even.
I was going to say, granted, a big chunk of that XG for Sporting KC is due to earning a penalty kick.
Sure.
Because a penalty kick is 0.7, 0.8 XG. So if you take out the penalty, it's virtually an even game. Now, Sporting Kansas City did have 16 shots compared to 6. For LAFC, so definitely more chances for Sporting KC. And I think if you look at what happened throughout the first half, you could very easily make the argument that Sporting Kansas City should have had at least 2, maybe even 3 goals in the first half of play.
Oh, 100%, man. But I got to say right off the get-go, before we even got that penalty in the 17th minute, I would argue that 15 minutes in, the crowd was on the referee's neck. Like this guy made a couple of questionable calls, and it was like, oh, is this how it's gonna go? Like it's not good, bro. And I'm like, what are you watching? And what is VAR watching?
Yeah,
I just the consistency of it, and I just kept thinking every time I was like, oh, you'll be reffing MLS Next Pro here in a bit. Like what?
Yeah, it was bad. I even saw a quote from a couple of LAFC fans after the game on Twitter where they're like, you're always happy to win, but it always kind of sucks when you win based on some questionable refereeing decisions. And
True.
Even LAFC fans were like, this was not a well-reffed game for either side. No. There were just questionable decisions all around, and it sucks.
Jimmy, nothing pisses me off more than the freaking letter of the law, bro. When you delay a restart, that is a yellow card.
Yes.
Delaying a restart. One guy tossed a ball away. Mm-hmm. Another guy stood right in front of the ball. Mm-hmm. Johnny kicked it at him.
That should be a yellow.
Boom. Yellow. And this guy's just like, hey, let me have a talk with you. Let me have a conversation. No. We're like, fuck you. Dude, it was so much. It drives me crazy. Why aren't these refs together? And they're like, hey, we have to ref this the same way. That's the rule. Yeah. We have to abide by that. Yeah. Oh, go to hell. Go to hell. Unbelievable.
And it does suck because, you don't want to come out of a game being like, oh, we only lost because of the refs. Because, again, there were chances. Sporting Kansas City had plenty of chances to finish.
Still gave up another header. I mean, that happens.
Sure. Gave up a header that was a really good strike that we'll talk about on the cross. And then unfortunately a couple of, errors from Kyrie Shelton that if he had earned any goodwill with the fan base back in recent history, I think that is now gone.
Not even going to blame him. Not his fault.
You're not going to blame him for...
No, because you want to put a striker who's never had to hold a back line before? Yeah. I mean, maybe he has in a league game somewhere, but he doesn't do that. And so to expect him, you're the coach, you put him in that situation. It's a Peter thing, right? It's a Peter criticism.
Yeah.
Have your issues with Kyrie. He can't score, whatever. But you put him at right back for a longer amount of time than last time.
Mm-hmm.
Expect some freaking chaos.
Yeah. I mean, we ended the game with Kyrie Shelton at right back and Roger Espinoza at left back. And it sucks that we're dealing with the injuries to Ndenbe and Caden Pierre and whatnot. But I mean, it's rough. The way that the back line is in terms of...
Don't even yell at Kyrie there. It's like you can say, okay, everyone knows how to hold a back line. Well, not necessarily, man. He was way out there too. He wasn't engaged with the back line.
Yeah. So let's go through this game a little bit, and then I want to spend a little bit more time talking about that play specifically because I have some thoughts. But LAFC, in the third minute of the game, they almost opened this up, and it was almost a terrible, disastrous start. Kendall McIntosh comes off his line and is able to get a hand just to the shot of Bogusz, I think it was, for LAFC, and it goes over the back of the net. But if this game would have started 1-0 LAFC with that lineup in the third minute, oh boy, this would have been a rough game.
Oh, they would have taken that bus and went parking that bitch.
Park it.
But hey, give some love to Kendall McIntosh, man. He's getting a lot of hate too. People are like, is Kendall the guy? And it's like, right now, he is the guy. It's him. Accept it. And he's having some good stops. It's really awesome and gets me jacked up when he does it, man. He's blocking shit with his face. It's unbelievable.
He's not the biggest keeper, but he's a very aggressive keeper. So you will see he will crash off the line and there was one time a few games ago where he was a little bit more hesitant, I would say, but for the most part, he's a pretty aggressive keeper who's quick and is able to come off the line and make some good plays like that, because that very easily could have been a goal. So
100%, man. It was scary. It's like, okay, guess we're setting the tone early.
And then just 10 minutes later, Gadi Kinda, who's going all over the place. This dude is just creating things left and right.
He is fun.
He gets the ball deep in the left side of the box and of LAFC's box. And this is an interesting play because he's kind of touching the ball toward the end line. He's not really going toward the goal. And the chance of him actually being able to sort of turn it toward the goal is not great.
Yeah.
But the LAFC defender comes in with a late challenge and doesn't get the ball. Maldonado kind of slides and takes out Gadi Kinda, who he was probably putting the ball out for a goal kick anyway.
Yeah.
And it wasn't initially called, but VAR takes a look at it. It's a penalty.
This is more questionable refereeing, though. Like, I saw it too, and I was like, I'm not sure Kinda gets that ball anyways with that heavy touch there.
I mean, it doesn't. I don't think that so much is questionable refereeing for me as it is questionable defending, because Maldonado didn't have to go to the ground.
No, I think he didn't. But then again, I mean, is it a foul if he's not even going to get the ball, though?
I mean, technically. The ball's still in play and he gets fouled. And so that was just a really dumb play from Maldonado. If that would have been a Sporting player that did that, I'd be livid, because I'd be like, what are you doing? Just usher the ball out. If he if he tries to cross it, just block it. Worst case, you give up a corner. Don't give up a penalty. That's the literal worst thing you can do here.
Yeah.
So
100%, man.
I don't know. And then
we'll take it, I guess.
I mean, they look at it, video review, the ref comes out, awards the penalty, and then Alan Polito, he steps up to take the penalty kick, and it's a good thing Alan Polito's got a cannon for a right leg. He fires this on frame because
it's touched.
LAFC keeper gets a hand to it, and it's
you heard the hand. Boom.
It's if that ball was 3 inches lower or to the right, that's saved. But
or less powerful, that's saved.
Yeah. just a little bit less save, then McCarthy probably punches that away. But
exactly. Hey, McCarthy, where's he been? He's been in other teams before, right? Where do we know him from?
Oh goodness,
Was he in Philadelphia for a bit? Did he wear a helmet for a while?
Ooh, you know what?
Is he that guy?
You might be right. Let me see here. I'm looking it up real quick.
Yeah. Because he wasn't wearing a helmet now. It's like what you remember people when they wear helmets or little headbands and stuff, you know. It's noticeable, or dye their hair.
A memory you have from 2015 to 2018. He was with the Philadelphia Union. According to Wikipedia, he only made 21 appearances in that time.
Yes, but I remember this. He was a penalty kick specialist, which probably explains why he got a hand to Alan Pulido's penalty. I remember they brought him in at the end of the U.S. Open Cup in 2015, and everyone was just like, that's kind of fucked up, not letting your goalkeeper finish the game.
2017?
No,
we played them?
It would have been, well, it was 2015 when we played them. 2017 was Red Bull's Open Cup at home.
Oh, you're right.
2015 was at Philly.
It was Jordy Cantilla.
Yep, they brought in McCarthy.
Jake, I go.
Yep. And it was like, what is this? Like, what a slap in the face to your current keeper, saying, I don't trust you with penalties. Get the hell out. We got someone better who hasn't played the whole game.
They subbed him right before the penalties.
Yep, right at the end of extra time.
Yeah, man, I forgot about that.
Bro, I take a little supplement called Ginkgo biloba. Heard of it? It's good. It's brain health stuff. So I got pretty good memory.
Well, thankfully, Pulido converted, and it was 1-0. And Sporting KC goes up ahead. You think things are pretty good. So let's take a little bit of a break here before we talk about the rest of the game. But we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
Bro, are you in the woods right now? Like literal woods?
Kind of. We're in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee.
Smoky Mountains. So, could you have a literal bear at your front door?
So when we pulled up to the cabin, there's like the trash drop-off location out front, and it is in a literal cage with a cutout of a bear on it. So because you have to put the trash in the bear cage so bears don't come take your trash.
So essentially, there's bears around.
Yes, there are bears.
Well, are you out there hiking and stuff, or are you just kind of chilling in the cabin?
No, we're gonna do some hiking.
There's bears though.
Yeah, there's some hikes that we saw. They were like, you are gonna see a bear on this hike. But
why? What are you gonna do?
They're black bears. You leave them alone. They'll be fine.
Wow, racism. Listen. You just tell your partner, hey, I don't gotta outrun the bear. I just gotta outrun you.
Black bears are smaller and generally, like if it were a grizzly bear, it'd be a different story. But black bears, you just kind of get big, make a lot of noise, and they don't bother you. So
have you done? Okay, you're coming from California. You probably were fucking with the cougars in the mountains, bro. Those mountain lions. Did you mess with
in California, we do have a grizzly bear on our state flag. So,
oh, that's true. You guys bet bears out there too.
Yeah,
man.
If you face a grizzly bear, you're supposed to play dead. If you face a black bear, you're supposed because you're not outrunning it. And if you run, it'll just make it more mad. So you're supposed to ball up, protect your head, and play dead. If you face a black bear, you're supposed to get really big and kind of like not scream, but in like a loud, stern voice, just like yell over and over. And if you ever encounter a polar bear, you're just going to die.
Oh my God. Listen, this is why people come here for information, dude. This is good stuff.
This has been Bear Facts with Jimmy.
Bear Facts. Back to soccer.
So yeah, we put the penalty away, and man, there were some more chances after that. Over the next 20, 25 minutes, Sporting Kansas City continued to have chances. They probably should have scored a couple of more goals. Gotti Kinda had a gorgeous chance in the 29th minute. He just couldn't get his foot around the shot that probably should have been at least a shot on goal, if not a goal. And then in the 43rd minute, Alan Pulido had a gorgeous strike off of a corner kick that was this little training ground piece. It was a tough angle, but McCarthy parries it away.
McCarthy made that look good, man. Like Alan had a couple of those shots where it was like, damn, he's curling it, and that keeper looks awesome.
He did. And then, right before.
He was MVP, by the way, in the MLS Cup final last year, John McCarthy.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Because it went to penalties and he did his job.
Yeah. So this is we go into halftime 1-0. There was a chance right before the half where Eric Tommy did the little rainbow over the defender, and he has Alan Polito crash in the box. Probably could have again if the pass is just a little bit better.
Man.
Could have put another goal away right before halftime, but doesn't quite get there. 1-0 at the half. I think I texted you because I saw the score and was like, looks good, and you were like, need more.
Too much time, dude.
Yeah.
You can't be up 1-0 on this team at the half. Like, you got to get one or two more.
Yeah, definitely.
Clearly.
And we come back out at halftime, and it took all of 2.5 minutes for LAFC, basically off of a set piece. They kind of recycle the ball around, and Maldonado, the guy who gave up the penalty, kind of gets I was going to say a free header. It's not even a free header. It was, I don't know, Castellanos doesn't really jump. Rosero's behind him. He's just nestled perfectly in between these two center backs, gets a header, and there's nothing that Kendall McIntosh can do. And suddenly now it's 1-1, 3 minutes into the second half.
Dude, this is a habit we've made of giving up early second half goals. Like, we don't come out focused or something. And nothing says I'm not focused like giving up a header. That sucks. I don't know how you fix that. But I will tell you, Steve Cherundolo, freaking, is that how you say his name?
No, it is. I'm just laughing at all of his quotes.
Oh, well, he's an idiot because he was way out of the freaking coach's box for a very long time. Yeah. People behind us were like, "Get back in the fucking box." It was so funny. But he put in like 3 freaking players at halftime, including Carlos Vela and 2 defenders, maybe.
Yeah.
And that it helps, dude. Carlos Vela is a quality player, and I'm glad he didn't play the first half, I guess, because it could have been worse.
Yeah, no, it could have been worse. It absolutely could have been worse. But I mean, Vela is such an interesting player because he doesn't actually like soccer. Like, he doesn't really want to play it. He could, like,
that basketball player on the Nuggets who's just like, this is fine.
Like, they're just world class, but they just don't have the passion for it. And that's kind of
a job. Do you have a passion for your job, bro? No, you look forward to the weekend.
That's what Jokic said when they were like, "Hey, you got the parade on Friday," and he's like, "No, I got to go home. I got to be with my horses."
Seriously?
Yeah, this is a job. Everybody hates their job, right? And if they say no, they're lying. And I'm like,
exactly. And then they showed him out in the club, freaking partying. It's like, thought you had to go home, bro.
My favorite is when they asked him. They're like, "Where's the MVP trophy?" And he's like, "I don't know. I left it." I left it in the coach's room and I lost it. I don't know where it is now.
Oh my God. He's like, I don't know. It's my car. I don't know.
So Vela comes on, LAFC levels it. Here's some more questionable refereeing. 53rd minute, Daniel Shallowy's driving in the box. He's getting pulled. Was it Aaron Law? No, I don't remember who it was. That was Hollingshead, I think.
Unbelievable.
He's kind of got
on his shoulder. On his shoulder.
Hollingshead's pulling Shallowy's shoulder. He's pulling his arm. Shallowy's got his arm back, and he's got a little bit of his of the LAFC jersey in his hand. Shallowy doesn't go down. There's shouts for a penalty. It's waved off. He's clearly pulled off balance in the box, and I've seen multiple people, including Andrew Wiebe of MLSsoccer.com and Extra Time, say if Shallowy goes down there, he's probably awarded a penalty, but he doesn't go down. And this is where my frustration lies, because are we going to start rewarding people for going down and that's the only way they're going to get a penalty? Whereas if they try to fight through it like you're supposed to, we're going to say, no, it isn't a penalty. This doesn't make sense.
This is messed up. How can you put that narrative out there? Well, he should have gone to ground. What? No, he wasn't physically pulled to ground. He should have faked. He should have acted. The shit we hate, the floppers, bro. Like, you don't reward flopping. But that's where we're at. We say it about Kyrie all the time. Well, Kyrie doesn't go to ground because Kyrie's a massive human being. Right. But how many times does he get fouled in the box where we're like, if he falls down, it's probably a penalty? Yeah. That's what this was. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It sucked. It doesn't make sense. And it's not fair. I get that Shallowy had a little bit of the Hollingshead's jersey in his hand, but I would argue that if he's just trying to create some distance between him and Hollingshead because he's being pulled back literally by the defender. And 2, that's the type of play you see all the time where, they kind of have their arms out against each other. What you don't see all the time is somebody pulling you back so much that you can see Shadowy as he's running fall off balance. And so
let's elaborate on that for a second, because the ref missed a lot of shit, dude, with the restart delays. That little number 18, that little bug, that little gnat on their team, I don't even remember his name, just a little bitty guy, just a little guy trying to have a good time, just here to play with his friends. He would push every chance he got. He would tug jerseys every chance he got. Why? Because we were smoking his ass. He was getting beat, so he had to do that. Yeah. And it was like, why is that not getting called? None of it. Every time he'd be guarding someone, we'd pass the ball away, he would get a little push in on the guy who passed the ball. And I'm like, you little bug. Yeah. Let's squash this bitch. I was so mad.
I mean, arguably Sporting KC was the much better team in the first half. They did not play well in the second half. There were missed chances. They definitely allowed LAFC. I mean, we didn't even mention that LAFC actually went ahead like a few moments after they scored their initial goal, and when it was called offside.
Vela?
Vela scored, and then I think it was Aaron Long who was offside. So we were flirting with disaster for most of the second half. And then in the 90th minute, this is when it happens. Kyrie Shelton, he's in at right back. He plays the ball back to Kendall McIntosh. And this is where I'm going to give Kyrie a little bit of a break, but I'm also going to say he also made an error. He passes the ball back to Kendall McIntosh. He runs back to the corner, almost to the flag, because he's trying to give Kendall McIntosh an outlet. And that's what defenders do. And Kyrie told us last time he played defender for whatever it was, 10 minutes, that was the first time he'd played defender since he was 5 years old. So
was it 5?
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's not got the instincts that, granted, Jake Davis isn't a natural defender, but he's been playing it for most of this year. So he's learned.
Yes. But when your leader comes to you and is like, hey, I think you can do this, you say yes. You think he's going to say, no, I'd like to not be on the field?
Yeah. So here's the problem. He runs back toward the corner flag to try to give McIntosh an outlet. Now, that outlet lane is cut off pretty quick by LAFC, and if you're Kyrie and you're a defender, you recognize that lane is cut off. You got to start running back up. He doesn't recognize that, so that's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, and this is the bigger mistake, is when Kendall boots it upfield, Kyrie's got to bust his ass to get back to the rest of the line. And that's arguably the bigger mistake. And again, he's not a defender. He doesn't think about these things. But if you're a professional player and you're in that position, you have to, if nothing else, if you're an attacking player playing the back line for any amount of time, if I'm the coach, the one thing I'm telling them is hold the line. Just make sure, if nothing else, you don't have to set the line, obviously. Just make sure you're checking where the center backs are and just stay in line with them.
Don't be behind the center backs ever. Be in front of them. Done deal. And the thing is, dude, he was a sub. It's not like he was taking a play off because he's been playing 80 minutes. He took a play off, and it's like, dude, when you're a sub, you got to go hard the whole time. You are expected to be at a level 10.
Yeah.
You don't have to time your runs because you're going to play the whole game. It's just, it was so unfortunate, man. It was heartbreaking to see it go down that way.
90th minute, Carlos Vela is the one who gets the ball because, of course. And
he's going to score it. 9 times out of 10, Carlos Vela's scoring that.
And if it's not for Shelton, Vela is 5, 6, 7 yards offside.
100%.
I mean, you can see the rest of the defenders are just thoroughly confused because since they're a defender, I mean, even Rodgers, he doesn't play left back now. He's played left back before. I think he played left back for Wigan when he went over to Europe.
He was in line.
And you can tell that they are instantly looking over at the AR, and they're all sorts of confused because they're like, how is this not offside? It never crosses their mind that Kyrie isn't back in line with them.
He was so far out wide that he was damn near on the sideline.
Right.
Like, he was out there, bro. Like, he was literally in front of me. It was wild to watch it happen just in real time like that.
So you noticed it live that it was,
He kept him on side. Right when it happened, I go, oh, no. We saw it, dude. And Marissa as well. She's like, oh, shit.
I mean, he's a good 15 yards behind Danny Rosero.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's not, dude. He didn't pick it up. And he knew it, too. When it happened, he kind of puts his head down like, shit.
Yeah,
that's on me.
He didn't argue. He instantly knew. And I mean, hey, credit where credit's due. It was a hell of a first-time volley from Aaron Long, who just off the goal kick perfectly places it to Carlos Vela.
But that's Aaron Long, bro. Aaron
Yeah.
Long is class.
Yeah. So it was all around just, McIntosh comes out. He tries to do his best. Not much you can do one-on-one against Carlos Vela.
Definitely not. Do you think McIntosh is crying about it? He's like, well, Carlos Vela got me.
And so then we get 6 minutes of stoppage time. And in the 4th minute of those 6 minutes, Sporting Kansas City ties it. They
Unreal.
It just, the broadcaster called it a golazo. Radoya driving to the line.
That's insane.
Pushes.
It's not a golazo.
Puts the ball squarely on Rogers' head, who then absolutely perfect header into the corner.
Dude.
I'm going nuts. I'm watching on my phone as we're checking into a hotel in Nashville, and I'm texting you, and I'm like, oh my God. And then you said something to me that I forget what it was, but I'm pretty sure you said something to me that tipped me off that something bad was happening, because you're a little bit ahead of me being there in real time and I'm on delay.
Oh, okay.
And I just was like, wait, no, hold on, what? And then I see the VAR and they're showing the replay of Kyrie Shelton. And do you think it's a foul on Kyrie?
I mean, dude, if he calls that, what about the rest of the game where he just screwed it? Yeah. He missed so much. And it's like, if you call that, dude, you are just negating your entire referee performance. You had a bad night. You got to go home and cry to your wife because work was hard today. They just yelled at me. They booed me, babe. Yeah, we booed you, bro, because you make too much money to be so bad.
It sucks because, so initially I was pretty pissed off and I was like, that's not a foul. This is dumb. I can see the argument after having seen a couple other angles. I can see the argument for it may be a foul, but I have 2 bones to pick still. One, like you just said, the consistency. If that's a foul, why are there not 17 other fouls, in the game where basically the same thing's happening? There's no consistency. Why are you calling it there? So that's number 1. 2, we have to get some sort of better idea of what does it mean to be in the attacking phase of play. Because I understand that if there's a foul in the immediate lead up to a goal, you can review it and call it back. What I don't understand, I guess, is there was a full 21 seconds of elapsed time between the Kyrie foul and when Roger puts the ball in the back of the net. And not only that, the ball is recycled out of the 18-yard box and it's passed back toward the midfield line before the attack starts again. So you could argue we're playing a little bit fast and loose with attacking phase of play. And it just, I'm still, even though it could be a foul, I'm still not even sure that it's, quote, clear and obvious enough based on the way that the ref was calling the game before then.
Clear and obvious. Those are the rules. It has to be clear and obvious to overturn anything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's absolutely no way it was, man. And oh, what a class goal, dude. What a sad day for Roger, because that was so chef's kiss, man.
Yeah.
Like, we went nuts. I stood up too fast, about passed out. It was a whole thing. And I'm just like, some of these refs put in consistently terrible performances.
Mm-hmm.
And then when there's a good ref, it's like, oh, shit. That's how it's supposed to be done. That's wild. If only there was an avenue to ask referees why they made the decisions they made. Oh, there is, you say? Well, then what are their answers? Oh, they don't answer worth a shit?
Yeah.
It's a terrible time. These refs suck to the highest degree of suck.
Peter was mad. After the game, he goes, I don't think it was a good game for either team. He goes, they were sleeping after halftime. He talks about the penalty. It's a hard one. It's a tough one. When there's such inconsistency in all of the foul calling, and then you bring a goal back when our guy actually touches the ball on the foul, he has control of the ball and 2 guys are grabbing him, holding him, and he gets called for the foul. I'm amazed at that decision, but I'm probably more amazed that Daniel Shallowy doesn't get a penalty kick in the 53rd minute. I'm amazed. I really am. I don't have any words for that piece of the game. It's sad.
Dude, there were moments where I think someone was leaning on Johnny. Johnny's got no arms on him. 0 arms. The guy's backing up. Johnny backs up, and the guy falls down, and they call a foul on Johnny. Johnny didn't body this guy. He didn't touch this guy. And Peter gets so animated. Peter looks at the ref and goes like this, like to imitate the player fell. And I'm like, he's not wrong. But being so close to Peter like that, it was so fun to watch that shit play out.
I bet. Yes, that's probably one of the best parts about being in the West Stand where you were, is like just getting to experience Peter more fully throughout the game.
Oh yeah, it's animated. Can you imagine being there when he took a little fall, took a little stumble?
Oh my gosh. So we lose the game. We drop out of the playoff contention right now.
This hurts.
Still plenty to go. But we're going on the road Wednesday night to the LA Galaxy. Arguably the worst team in the league. They have no Chicharito.
Yeah. Quick turnaround, though.
It's a quick turnaround, but you got to go get 3 points.
You got to, but it was an aggressive game, man. We're tired.
I would have been more okay with the draw on the road if they would have gotten 3 against LAFC, but you dropped one at home. If you drop them at home, the formula is win at home, draw on the road. Sure. If you drop one at home, you got to make it up somewhere on the road. And we've had success in the past going down against the Galaxy in Carson. We haven't lost against the Galaxy in at least the last 3 times. It might be more.
Dude, I've made a couple trips out there for a couple victories. Hell of a time.
And so this is one where you got to go and you got to, put your big boy pants on and you got to figure out a way to get 3 points on the road.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's got to happen. I would have loved a draw here at home, man, like to salvage that at the end. It would have felt like that moral victory, But you look at it, you're like, hey, we just drew against MLS Cup champions again. Like that's good.
Yeah.
But now you got to suck it up and bring the guns on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then come back home on Saturday. It's a rough time right now.
Yeah.
Dog days of summer, they say.
The only reason I can think that both Leibold and Jake Davis were pulled off was to save them for Wednesday. And, now it potentially cost you at least a point, if not 3 points. And so because that decision was made, they have to go out there and do the damn thing on Wednesday and get the full 3 points. I don't know if they will. It's hard to predict a win on the road in MLS, but Sporting Kansas City are a better team than the LA Galaxy. The Galaxy are not good. They have 3 wins on the year. We should be able to go and get a full 3 points. I'm not predicting they will necessarily, but that's what they have to do.
It should be a 6-point week with Chicago coming to town too. I mean, you got to take advantage of this right now.
Absolutely. If you can get a win against the Galaxy and you can get a win against Chicago, you can live with that loss, as frustrating as it is against LAFC. But you have to. I mean, Chicago's also bad. So
because it's LAFC, you can live with it.
These are 2 dumpster fire teams. So if you get 6 points the rest of the week, you'll look back and you'll go, it doesn't make it great. You're still frustrated with some of the Kyrie decisions, but you mitigated the damage. So that's what they got to do. I do want to talk some national team stuff here before we end, but we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back talking U.S. men's national team.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
Jimmy, you know what? I can kind of pivot a little bit and have a little empathy for referees. Like I find myself these days, like I want them to do good. I'm like, let's hope the refs have a good game. And let's hope, let's hope teams have fun and the refs do a good job. And when they don't, I just hope they get to their cars safely.
Well, I mean, some other countries, they don't get to their cars safely.
Bro, other countries throw piss and crap on people. Like it looked like it was raining at this USA game. The way fans were throwing drinks and stuff, probably cups of pee, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
CONCACAF is wild. Calm the Ball is wild with some of the stuff that the fans do.
Too much.
It was
I don't ever want to go to Mexico, by the way, to a game. Or I don't ever want to go there showing them that I'm a U.S. men's national team fan, because I don't think that would go well.
No, I mean, these fan bases, they do not like each other.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that, it's always tough because it's fun to lean into the U.S.-Mexico rivalry. It sometimes gets a little bit too close to being like, some of this feels like a little bit of like racial stereotypes, like some racist discourse that can happen, and that's not great. But there's plenty to enjoy about the U.S.-Mexico rivalry because it's so storied. And there's so much history there. And
these games are physical, dude.
They're physical, and these 2 teams do not like it. I mean, this game ended 9-9. There were 4 red cards, and there probably could have been more.
Dude, there's games where I'm like, these people still got to go play with their club teams, and they're going to go back injured. Like Alan Polito goes and plays for Mexico every now and then. Well, god dang, I don't want him to go. I don't want Alan to go because he'll get hurt.
I always wonder what the conversation is after a game like that in the locker room. If like Alan and Graham are like arguing over like, yeah, Weston deserved a red. No, he didn't. This guy came up and like grabbed him around the net. Like, I doubt they talk about it much. But
I mean, there was hands to the face. One guy got pushed, and then so the guy pushed back, and that guy got a red, but the original pusher didn't get a red. It was a weird time.
That was happening quite a bit, where yellows were shown to the retaliator, and you know,
bro,
part of you kind of has to know that, but
this is my childhood, man. My brother would antagonize me. He would do something. He would hit me or something, so I'd hit back. And I'd be like, Mom, he did it first. And she's like, you did it second. I'm like, how does that make sense? Why are we both in trouble? We both did it.
Be the bigger boy.
What the fuck?
So
drama.
This game, it was pretty much all U.S. from the get-go. But it was a weird vibe going into the game because Jesse Marsh's agent, like a couple hours before the game actually kicked off, tweeted, all he said was, Jesse Marsh will not be the next head coach of the U.S. men's national team.
Okay.
And there kind of had been whispers about like, is there a chance that Greg Berhalter might return? And that kind of sent off a tizzy. And then Paul Tenorio and Pablo Maurer, but like within the hour of the game kicking off, broke the news. Greg Berhalter is expected to return as head coach of the U.S. men's national team. So that breaks.
Knew this too.
I assume they knew this.
You would have to think in the locker room,
but they're like warming up as this news is breaking. So USMNT Twitter is going wild because half of them are like, this is a treasonous act and you deserve to go to prison for hiring Greg Berhalter again. And then the game happens, and it's one of the more fun U.S.-Mexico games that we've seen in a long time. Christian Pulisic scored 2 goals. Ricardo Pepi got his goal. It was the first official appearance for Folarin Balogun, the new striker who just switched to the U.S. Men's national team, who you can already tell is the best striker we've had in years. This guy is another level. And then there's all these red cards. Weston McKennie's shirt ends up torn. He's kissing the crest as he's got water bottles raining down on him.
That's a GIF right there for the life. That's amazing.
My favorite was, so there was that, which I loved. And then have you heard of the Twitter account Art But Sports?
Maybe.
They take a screenshot of something that happened in a sports game. And then they find a corresponding like Renaissance artwork or whatnot. And so go look at the one, I retweeted it, but go look at the one they found of Weston McKennie, because there's like his shirt's like hanging down and you see like his left pec.
And someone had their titty out or something.
You see his left pec, and then they have a corresponding one where it's like a Renaissance painting of a woman, and you just see like her left breast is hanging out, and it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. It was weird, man. I had it on mute because it was late, so Marissa was sleeping, and I was like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Yeah, so it ends 9-9. There was like 12 minutes of stoppage time, and they ended the game after 7 because Mexico fans would not stop doing the homophobic chant.
Is that why they ended it early? Like I said, it was on mute. I had no idea.
So they had already stopped the game once, way too late, because they were doing it every single time. They were pointing lasers at Matt Turner. They were doing the chant, and Turner was like turning around and like telling them to knock it off.
So at what point do you forfeit a game?
Well, that's the question, honestly. It's supposed to be the first time it happens, stop play. Second time it happens, like you suspend the game and I think pull the teams off. And then I think at the third time you're supposed to abandon the match, but that never happens. They didn't stop the game until like the 70 some odd minute for a few moments.
Where was this game?
Las Vegas.
It was Vegas, right? Okay, so should have been more USA fans than Mexico fans, but
but
not necessarily.
There's so many Mexican national team fans in the United States that it always feels like it's kind of split 50-50.
Especially in the Western area like that, California, Nevada.
Yeah,
I get that.
So it happens again in the 7th minute of stoppage time. It's 3-0, and the ref immediately blows whistle. So we're all left to assume, they stopped the game because of the homophobic chant. Well, then CONCACAF does the weird thing after the game where they're like, no, that's not why we stopped it. The ref that was the end of the game. He just stopped it. It didn't have anything to do with the chant. And you're like, okay, well, you had a chance to at least save face and look a little decent, because if you were finally like, okay, you know what, just end the game, we're not playing the last 5 minutes because of the chant, and they went out of their way to say that's not why. So it doesn't really make much sense. But CONCACAF needs to do something better, because it's clearly not working what they've been doing. Like, start making Mexico or other teams that do the chant forfeit games, ban them from tournaments. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's go. Wouldn't it be bad if they just started rounding up everyone in a Mexico shirt and made them leave? Well, that feels very that feels borderline racist right there. Oh, you're wearing Mexican stuff? Get the hell out.
Well, so I tweeted after, I was like, okay, stop the game first time, pull the teams off the field second time, and if they do it a third time, then forfeit. Like, and have a no tolerance policy for it.
And a forfeiture is a 3-0 result, but it was already 3-0, so it's all good.
Someone replied, I forget who they were, and I'm not making fun of them, but they're like, well, but if you made them forfeit, couldn't you just get thousands of fans of the opposing team to wear those jerseys and do it like repeatedly until they cause the other team to forfeit? And all I'd say is, if you think any fan base, but especially, U.S. fan base or any CONCACAF fan base is organized enough to bring, 3, 4, 5,000 fans of another, and all buy another team's jersey to have this conspiracy of doing a homophobic chant. Right. Yeah. That's not going to happen. That's a problem that's just doesn't exist.
That's assuming everyone's on board with this chant. It's like, what? Right. No, I would hope there's more good than bad out there, but I don't know why that's a thing. I don't know why they enjoy doing this.
I mean, the argument is, well, no, it's not homophobic in Mexico. That's not what it means, but it is. It's a derogatory term for a male prostitute.
You've been told that it is now. You have been informed. You're choosing to still do it because you think it's funny, and it's not funny. Dude, when you let someone know that you're affected by something, they do it tenfold.
Yeah,
like it's just they push your boundaries, and it's like those are the shittiest people.
Yeah, so it's not great. Hopefully CONCACAF figures out how to stop it, but this game ends 3-0. USA, the U.S. men's national team, they're the best team in CONCACAF, and it's not close right now. Mexico is a disaster, and then
I love it.
The U.S. goes on to beat Canada 2-0. Chris Richards gets his first career goal. Balogun gets his first career goal, and I don't know if you saw the Balogun goal, but my God, the through ball from Gio Reyna and the finish from Balogun, it sent shivers down my spine, because this is the future of the national team.
I didn't see a whole lot of it, man. I had other plans that night, but
this guy, he is good. Balogun, he is the striker we have been waiting for. I think Pepe can still be very good coming off the bench.
He's the one, huh?
The train has been parked at the station, and it's not leaving because Balogun is here. I
love to hear it.
Yeah, he could have had a second goal. I mean, he was all over the field. He almost stole the ball from the Canada keeper right out from underneath his feet. This team, they're playing with confidence, and they're playing with style. So will it keep happening with Greg Berhalter back at the helm? We'll see.
I saw 0 of the Canada game because Casey Current was in town blowing leads as well. And, it just feels that, dude, I thought – so USA has another game this Saturday.
The Gold Cup starts, I think, Saturday.
Does it? Oh, shit. So they just won a trophy and now get to go right into potentially winning another trophy.
It's an entirely different roster because it's largely an MLS-based roster for the second one, because a lot of these this Nations League roster, this was basically the first team. And now a lot of them are going back to their clubs in Europe. A lot of them don't know, honestly, where they'll be playing next year. Is Pulisic going to still be with Chelsea? He's been the subject of rumors. Is Balogun going to stay with Arsenal, or is he going to go back on loan somewhere? There's a lot of questions. Weston McKennie, where's he going to be since Leeds got relegated? But yeah, it'll go largely to an MLS-based roster when they take on Jamaica on Saturday.
That's awesome.
So the big news, though, outside of winning the second Nations League, and they've won the last 3 major CONCACAF trophies. So again, this is the premier team in CONCACAF right now, is the return of Greg Berhalter. And I want to spend our last 5 minutes or so getting your thoughts on, do you think Greg Berhalter can sort of continue to push this club or this team to where they need to be ahead of 2026? And have you seen some of the reactions from people on Twitter?
Well, I mean, this is pro wrestling, right? A wrestler got a little heat, or maybe got in some trouble, maybe got that patented Jeff Hardy DUI and had to go away for a bit.
Yeah.
And then boom, his music hits and he's back, baby. He's back. And he's the villain, man. Everyone's like, this is kind of weird, but okay. I mean, how many chances are we giving people? But people don't like this.
No, they don't. And I was cracking up because we found that clip and it was Bill Belichick for some reason, but the audio of Stone Cold's music, you hear the glass break and you hear Jim Ross just go, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, it perfectly encapsulated what this news was for me, was the shatter of news. And then everybody's just like, oh no.
That's what it is, man. It's he's not as fun as Stone Cold. I love to see Stone Cold come back. I don't necessarily love this.
I want to see Stone Cold coach the U.S. men's national team, honestly.
This is weird, bro. And I don't know if it's a good move. Personally, like emotionally, forget soccer-wise. I mean, we know the guy's capable of soccer decisions and sneakers, apparently. But I think that I don't know if it's a good personal choice.
Yeah, so here's
locker room choice. Locker room.
So that's the interesting part. Obviously, there was the controversy with Gio Reyna and Gio Reyna's parents.
They good now?
Well, the parents aren't, and you know, Greg said in the opening press conference, there's still some work to do on the relationship with Gio Reyna, and I'm sure he would go back and do some things differently if he could. I do think that all of the Twitter accounts that have a U.S. men's national team player as their avatar, or the Twitter accounts that have half of Greg Berhalter's face and half of Hitler's face as their avatar,
that's a little
much. Think y'all need to calm down a little bit. And there's a lot of people that are just spamming U.S. men's national team Twitter accounts saying wife beater out, which again,
oh boy,
let's not evoke, like, I think front end, we're all very much against domestic violence, but
yeah,
this was a matter that was never raised publicly by Greg and his wife, that happened decades ago, that they were able to reconcile and figure out and move forward. And by all accounts have a very healthy relationship and healthy marriage.
And wanted that buried, probably something they're not proud of. And they probably don't talk about.
So to continue to use something that the victim, really, his wife, does not want to continue to be used, that's what's real shitty. And so...
Can you imagine? Hey, remember when you robbed that Dillon's when you were 16 and you're like 40 years old? It's like, I don't want that out there. I don't want to talk about it.
So I don't know. I think ultimately what it comes down to is there was no other coach available. And so it's weird that it took 6 months. It's weird that it took 6 months to get back to where we were. But I just don't, like, Pep Guardiola was never coming. So, like,
right. Yeah. He's who called him? Who said that was even a thing?
Right. So at this point, I hope Greg can continue to progress as a coach. I hope he can continue to help this national team grow, because they're the best national team we've ever had.
And I hope let's see where we hit a wall.
Right. And we'll continue to progress toward 2026, and that's all we can hope for.
Well, that's the goal. And that's so long away, of course, but like the building starts now. And holy shit, man, we're getting World Cup action in Kansas City. Like, it's coming. What are the chances we even get to go to a game? It might not be possible.
Well, we'll try. Maybe we got to get credentialed. We'll see.
Oh,
but yeah, lots more to talk about. There'll be more U.S. stories next week, I'm sure, after the Gold Cup starts. Shout out to BJ Callahan. Coached 2 games, beat Mexico, and won a trophy. So
that's exciting. That's very cool.
And he wore the sneakers that Alexis gave him on air, the blacked out Air Force Ones. Alexis gave him from Cooligans.
Oh, really?
Gave him shoes on air on the morning footy show, and then he ends up wearing those shoes against Canada when they win the Nations League.
Amazing. So. I'm not a black Air Force One guy. It looks like it's not enough color. I need a little more color.
Well, excuse me. Thank you all for listening. It's a bummer that it's not a victory pod, but hopefully we'll be back having a double victory pod after beating the Galaxy and Chicago Fire this week. But make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. Shoot us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com. And check out the KCSN soccer YouTube page and the Kansas City Sports Network app to get both podcasts and YouTube videos. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
#Bear Talk.
Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, the fastest growing sports media network in Kansas City. Check out these videos that feature our team of more than 15 former players, insiders, and analysts bringing you the best Chiefs coverage you can find. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.